if they go for something new at all. Starting in the top right hand sides in the red, playing Karen is Coffee. Playing Invictus Gaming.
And over here in the bottom left, we have ourselves the blue Protoss. This is Firefly.
Maynard
representing SSLT. I don't know how to say that. Do you know how to say it?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Because Maynard kept saying it, like the name of the team in Chinese, but when he spoke that name, it sounds like he's speaking French. Because it sounds like similar to French words. I was like, what? I was like really weirded out by that. But I guess he did his homework and he knows how to say it pretty much. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, he mentioned it the other night on the cast as well. It slipped my mind very quickly, and I'm kind of scared of pronouncing it, to be honest, because I don't want to butcher it. But he is represented by a team, which is fantastic. Now, we do have a Rax out on the map this time.
Yeah, Coffee looking to play aggressive. This is not like a super, proxy, like extremely all-in, where you go for it like very close and then you proxy all of your buildings. So far, it kind of seems like he maybe wants Firefly to overreact and panic, perhaps. And Firefly, on the other hand, like, if he thought this was going to be a fully standard series, then he's already, kind of getting surprised from game number one. He's barely going to miss it. Whoa, okay, this is a little worrying. And actually, this is a full fake, just flying home.
Yeah, a little bit of fear into you, that's for sure. And I like that from Coffee too, because he is kind of known to play a similar style in his TVPs most of the time. So if you can switch it up a little bit in the early game and make him sweat, that might be the difference between a win and a loss in some cases. He hasn't typically been the biggest cheeser, but he's certainly not afraid of aggression.
I was wondering, actually, going to this series, I referred to Coffee's previous series against Yeshi, if Firefly perhaps might want to play that exact style, because it just seemed like Coffee had no answer. And the style in question is just very quick third base, around 3 minutes 50. And then you go into a lot of gateways and you stay on gateway units without adding any sort of, Disruptor, Colossus, or High Templars for a very long time. So you just rely more on gateway units plus a couple Immortals, which I think is why he went for SCV pulls, because he was like, okay, well, if you don't have Colossus or Storm, it's going to be too hard for you to hold. But there was good enough holds for Jeshi to win. So curious whether Firefly will attempt that himself, or does he rely more on his own style and play entirely different?
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think Firefly is aware of Coffee's tendency to pull the boys sometimes, and when he's played, it looks like he's almost a little scared of Coffee's timings. Seen him go really fast for Colossus, sort of sit back a little bit and just try and be really safe against Coffee. But yeah, maybe the answer is just to switch it up a little bit and make sure you have an answer, because I think the way Jaishi ended up sort of slapping him down was just any push that Coffee did, he could never really quite do any damage. He was handled quite nicely.
Yeah, there is no third Nexus here. He had the probe around that area, so maybe he was thinking about going for it. That's kind of weird, actually, that it was positioned there. Maybe he was worried something would fly by. He was trying to spot that Medivac, but actually missed it. Oh, it's a disaster. He's going to lose so much mining time. He's going to lose a couple probes, and there's going to be the evacuation. Firefly early, I think, falling behind there. And we see the Raven, by the way. Like, if you can just sit back at home with this, let it charge up on energy, and then go for a timing.
Yeah. I mean, this is very much Coffee's style, isn't it? To just go for the Raven. He likes to deny the vision of any obs coming out of the Robo. And often it culminates in some sort of 7-minute-ish push, give or take, with the first couple of upgrades rolling in. So Firefly just dips in a little bit there, but backs out, having seen the Raven.
Yeah, Firefly, the super delayed third base is very interesting here. I don't know if he's that worried, or maybe it's because he just fell behind, so he's like, okay, well, I need to mine more gas, make sure I have some proper army, defend any upcoming timing. But then the right answer from Coffee will be to simply just take his own third base and be very happy with the timing for it. And just kind of sit back and play a normal macro game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have the Warp Prism finishing up, so we'll see if Firefly maybe gets some harassment in and get some revenge for the mining time he lost earlier in the couple of probes. He is certainly loading up with those Stalkers, and we'll see how we go. Of course, we don't have Blink on the field. We're going straight for charge, and then we're actually going into Templar.
Ooh, I love that build. Love it. If you can get Storm early, you're gonna have so much potential to land some big ones, especially like you're hoping you catch the opponent off guard that he's not ready. You know, maybe he hits too late. The storm's already finished. Usually there is very often a pre-storm timing that comes, which is the hardest to hold. But that's why this prism is across the map, is to buy time, is to take the mind of Coffee off this option of High Templars being the tech.
Bit of lost mining time here for Coffee as he moves forward to clear out those Stalkers, and he is about ready to head across the map. He's got his first couple of medevacs in tow. His Raven, of course, will be joining the fray there, lining up nicely with the combat shields and stim. So what does Firefly have? He needs to be careful not to get caught with this, but he should be okay. Just sort of following the army along.
Yeah, and upon seeing the Templar Archives, great scout, by the way. Oh my god. Oh, he turned around. This maneuver. And this time he's going to be really strong now. There is no storm yet. He does have some High Templars. Lands the feedback. There's just so much.
Yeah, it's a little bit early to have storm. Like you mentioned, Todd, these can be really hard to hold. And that third, he just can't hold that. He's going to have to let it go. He's got a bit of cleanup happening on the mines here at the bottom of the ramp, but he's sort of holding on to that natural area. One immortal there. Don't want that too far in the front. But this is a powerful Terran force. Is going to knock out at least one of the pylons. But Firefly, oh, looks like he has just enough to make sure this doesn't gain any more traction.
Yeah, losing the third base, though, is a huge problem here for him. His economy is not going to be where he wants it to be. Overextending, chasing, getting some trades right now. The Raven's actually going to go down. Wow, Coffee really wanted that immortal.
He's still going to go for it too. He's got a couple of Marauders in tow. He's going to try and target it down, but he's just not quite got enough to make that happen. Should probably just pick up and head back out of here before he loses any more. Nice little snipe on the medevac at the end there.
I need to ask, Zeph, how do you take your coffee? What's your favorite?
I actually don't drink coffee.
Really?
Yeah, I can't handle caffeine very well.
Yeah. So not even green tea?
I do drink black tea if I have caffeine. That's
okay.
What I do, yeah. You're a coffee person?
Actually, I wasn't for a very long time, but then I definitely picked that up sometime along the way. And my go-to is a cappuccino with oat milk. I don't mind black coffee and stuff. Yeah.
Oat milk's actually heaps good. I didn't think it would be that good of a milk alternative, but I rate it. You've got good taste.
I think it was Artosis once that talked about it, and he said we need to just keep oat milk and throw everything else away and just get rid of all of the rest.
Oh man, we had 7 probes go down there with the mines in the mineral line. There's one more here looking to burrow. Not quite able to make the magic happen there, but Firefly is on the front doorstep of Coffee's place now. They both kind of passed each other here. The third Nexus is going to go down again, but what does Coffee have at home to defend this storm now? Oh, those SCVs!
He loses a lot, but this attack here has to break Coffee. I mean, to be honest, oh my god, these storms are landing big time on everything. The bunker is holding for now. Huge repair from Coffee. He just needs to hold this. He's dealing critical damage on the other side. Both players have lost so much very rapidly here. The supply is plummeting on both sides.
Not sure if Coffee has much left in the way of army on Firefly's side of the map, and you're right, that bunker is holding at the cost of 33 SCVs though. Both of them absolutely shredding each other. And oh nice, gets that Archon on the tail end and the Stalker.
What a slugfest. It just like went for an attack, both of them. They just started trading on both sides. And all of a sudden we have 31 probes to 29 SCVs. Remember, there's 2 orbitals. Both players kind of stuck on 2 bases, but there is the third command center on the high ground, so Coffee might just be ahead. He just needs to get good trades, which against High Templars can be tricky, but he has Ghosts on the way now.
Yeah, how many High Templars do we actually have out at the moment? Because I think he lost most of them. Okay, so we've walked in another 4. They'll be gathering up some energy. And oh, there goes one storm, and Coffee is hightailing it out of there. He doesn't want any of that. And I think that might be the end of that aggression for at least a moment while he regroups. that's a fairly decent force from Firefly, and he's swinging back around, probably going to check on this third base maybe. But he's just chasing down whatever he can as he comes up for round 2.
Yeah, Coffee really needs to start grouping up with this Ghost. There they are. Oh, actually, I completely missed the MP here. I don't know if he has enhanced shockwaves yet, but he definitely is going to need that down the line. He gets engaged into... I think he underestimated that Firefly was going to be the one to try and attack here very soon.
Man, there's not a whole lot of Terran left here. The Ghosts are great, but not if you have 0 damage to back them up. Almost gets an Archon there. He's just trying to pump out whatever units he can. Need another repair on that bunker as Firefly comes up the ramp here. Storms go down on the SCVs again. The bunker does finally fall, and Archon falls shortly after though, and now we've got the boys in the fight too. Mortal having to get picked up and moved to the back. Is there enough Terran here from Coffee to hold this off? He's really doing well actually with the target firing. The key units from Firefly still staying alive, but it's just a little bit too much from Coffee.
I got the Prism. He needs to get out. There's 2 Immortals in there. He's gonna get boxed in. He needs to recall probably. And yeah, 20 SCVs went down during this attack here. So this attack, I guess, served its purpose. But yeah, Firefly definitely needs a third base. What is he doing? Oh my god, this Prism is living on the edge. There is a Viking in production. Why is he not recalling?
I don't know. Maybe just trying to save it for a rainy day. Stressful to watch that Prism. It looks like he wants to keep trying to harass and get something done with it, but I don't know about that decision.
I guess you can tell there probably wouldn't be a Viking so soon, but that Viking now is almost out, and he's gonna head straight for where the Prism is. If that Prism dies, the 2 Immortals in it, that would be a disaster here. Or Firefly, who's already behind in supply right now. There we go. Okay.
All right. Okay, there's the recall. Forces his hand at last. And Coffee has checked and confirmed that there's still no third base from Firefly, so he's going to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief there, and he should know that, okay, cool, I've got 3 CCs still. He's now landed that again at the third base location, and he's pumping out those SCVs once more, looking for a bit more aggression over here. Don't lose that Prism.
Ooh, nice Marauder on the right side, actually. He goes there to kind of like demine the field of High Templars, but there's the 2 coming from above, trying to land some big storm and perhaps feedback there.
Ooh, this could be nice. Ooh, the storms do go all over the bio there, but those Templar are now lost. And the mine gets a really nice hit on that Immortal as well.
Zealous on the other side, that's really nice, because everything that Coffee has is pretty much across the map right now. And now he's kind of forced to run back. The Medivacs taking so much damage. He's losing some of them here. Really needs to keep everything alive. We're even in supply. We're completely even in supply. They've been trading unit for unit the whole game, and now we got another big engagement in center. Is Firefly overextending? Yeah, I think so.
Oh no, the Immortals are going down. He doesn't quite have enough to polish that off, not with the charge loss running in at the last minute there, but he is still producing just enough to whereby I'm not sure that Firefly could get any more done here. He's making another Prism and finally trying to retake that third Nexus again. But I think it's just going to be another case where Coffee comes in for yet another counter swing at this third base location.
Firefly is just... He has to be aggressive because he skipped any amount of tech. He just went for High Templars. There was no Forge ever made. He's 0-0 against 1-1, and he doesn't know whether there is more upgrades coming from Coffee, who, because he lost his entire economy, didn't even, or wasn't even able to consider going for any more upgrades. So, you know, he's kind of in the dark as to where exactly he's at in the game, but he just knew that he had to play aggressive with the High Templars, and he got some good storms, but, you know, maybe slightly better ones, and the game would be over. That's the tricky part against a Terran player as good as Coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that he's got some more Zealots queued up again on Coffee's side of the map to try and harass while he comes in for aggression, because this is actually delaying Coffee. He pulls back everything while he pays attention to dealing with this. And he is getting quite an army together once again. The army supply definitely in his favor. More medevacs coming out too. And yeah, I am still concerned for Firefly here. He finally has some mining on that third Nexus though.
Yeah, Coffee is starting to take off supply-wise here. I think he retained, like he rebuilt his SCV count really well. He retained a lot of his medivacs, even though he lost a few. And now he's just built up this huge bioball. Nice bunker here at the base that's going to help defend. Dodges most of the storm, but those SCVs, maybe another one who could be a disaster.
No.
And it's not reacting.
Oh
my god.
goodness.
The first move was good, not the second one. And now he probably feels like he has to attack because he just took so much economic damage.
Oh, big EMPs on that Protoss ball though. And well, the storms aren't too bad, but nice spreading from Coffee as well. And he's trying to mitigate as much of that damage as he can. His units are fairly bruised, but with these medevacs, he can continue to push a little bit more. Another EMP comes down. Shield battery is no longer helping out here. And he is just trying to trade what he can, focus down those key money units. The Immortals are gone. The Warp Prism is struggling to help out with the micro here a little bit as well. Is there too much Terran? Will Coffee finally crack Firefly here?
Yeah, the shield battery is gone, and that's it. Coffee gets map number 1 here after having to battle hard for it. 16 minutes game.
Yeah, really nice first game. I mean, that was almost some mud wrestling there for a minute. Both of them just absolutely decimating each other, whether it be on the SCVs or taking out the armies. That was a very high octane map number 1.
Yeah, lots of fighting, lots of trading, and I'm surprised at how even they were in supply for most of the game. It was really at the end that Coffee started to be able to take off. Thanks to some good trades, some scary storms, but not scary enough to put Firefly ahead to be able to win the game. It's tough, you know, you play a long game like this with 0-0 upgrades, like eventually it's going to start catching up to you.
That's exactly right. So hopefully Coffee's feeling it after that and he can continue with the momentum. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be heading into map number 2. Welcome back, nerds. This is DreamHack Atlanta, and we are in China. If you're just joining us, we have just had our first map in the first of 2 TVPs. A very exciting one between Firefly and Coffee for the first game of the night. And we're wondering if this is going to continue or if Coffee is going to manage to come out on top and get himself on match point here. What do you reckon, Todd?
It honestly killed a lot of stuff, but that wasn't enough. And that game kind of reminded me of my own games against Terran back in the day. I always struggled against early drops. Then after that, every timing of Terran, even though they don't per se like get me out of the game, they put me behind a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more every time. I think that was really the key to victory here for Coffee. It was like that first drop did a bunch of damage, slowed down Firefly. They couldn't go for the third base, and then after that, perfect scout, which by the way our observer beautifully caught on the Templar Archives as soon as it was made, and he was like, I can just go for a timing before you have Storm. And again, did a lot of damage. The game was still close despite all that. So imagine if any of these things had happened, maybe we're looking at a Firefly win.
Yeah, exactly. The interesting thing for me is that this isn't too different from what Coffee did against Jaishi. He played pretty much the same style. He loves his Raven openers, and he loves going for those timings, whether it's just before Storm or a little bit after when Storm would be, if Storm isn't quite on the field. But against Jaishi, it kind of got slapped down. Against Firefly, it seems to be working a little better, but that was a hard-fought battle. It wasn't like an easy, oh, whoops, you just died to my first real push. So I am still expecting good things from Firefly. I still think this is one where we could have put Firefly on the predictions and had a reasonable shot at it. But I will be concerned if Coffee goes up 2-0 here, because as we know, 3 in a row after that is a tough ask.
All right, I heard the countdown. Let's go right into the game.
Let's do it to it. I can't remember what the second map was. I think it was Inside and Out. Be a bit of a bigger map nonetheless. Let's find out. Oh, it is Inside Out. Too easy. Up here in the top right, this is our red Terran. This is Coffee.
Opponents in the blue, playing Protoss, playing for Team Skinny Camel. It is Firefly. Look at that logo.
It is a cool logo, isn't it?
You know, I asked Maynard, like, do camels really attack this? And he Googled it, and apparently they do.
Oh, I learned something today.
Apparently those guys did their research before coming up with this team name and logo. They knew exactly what they wanted out of it.
It's very unique. Very unique. I like it a lot. We do get some interesting team names, that's for sure. But that's definitely one of the more creative ones that we've seen, that's for sure. Now, Coffee has gone for a similar opener to the game on Waterfall that we just saw, where he's decided, you know what? I don't need my first racks in my base.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool by Coffee. I think he was really hoping for an overreaction. Like sometimes you don't see the racks and then you really start panicking. You're like, okay, well, if this is like a hard proxy, I can't get my Nexus, like I can't get as much tech as usual. I have to chrono boost only the gateway. And in that case, that was like mostly a fake. You know, he just got the Reaper, then flew that back home. But this time, he's trying to bunker the expansion here with a beautiful placement. SCV right now perfectly safe. Really trying to apply as much pressure as he can on Firefly.
Yeah, bothersome start for Firefly. It was just tickling that SCV with the probe, but it's moving around and being a bit of a pest, so he's going to leave that alone now as the Reaper rolls in, trying not to lose that too far ahead of time. The Reaper might be able to get a couple of kills here. There's nothing out just yet to deal with this. So this is a bit of an awkward start for our Protoss player.
Getting a shield back here to make sure he can stay there and attack with the Stalker against the bunker. Try and get rid of it maybe a little quicker. Actually, he won't quite run over yet, and that Reaper is being supremely annoying now.
Yep, and we have another Reaper joining in. The Stalker tries to intercept it, but it just doesn't shoot fast enough to make the difference there. It still gets in the bunker, and he will not be mining from that Nexus quite yet. We do have the CC coming down for Coffee behind this, and he's going into a pretty normal 1-1-1 from here.
I can actually reach from the high ground. That's pretty cool. So you can shoot from safety, but those SCVs are going to be there repairing for a while, maybe up until it's like close to dying. Then he can salvage and evacuate. Because the Stalkers are attacking from the high ground, they can't really cut off the retreat of the Reapers. So the Reaper should be able to get away unscathed from this.
Yeah, I think Firefly maybe trying to change that by repositioning the Stalker. At least he can pick off those SCVs now. A little bit more fancy micro there from Coffee to prolong that just a little more, but yeah, the Reapers are going to get out of there nice and safely, and they can keep trying to hop back in and pick up another couple of kills while Coffee establishes his own nat.
Yeah, Coffee behind this, I think he's going to drop Widow Mines again. He just wants to look to apply more and more pressure. As time goes, needs to be careful about some counter-attack potential down the line, especially when Blink will be completed. I think the dream for Firefly would be to just hold as well as he can and then go for a counter-attack with quite a few Stalkers and try and find some SCV damage. But yeah, for now, he has to stay home and wait for whatever's coming next. And you know there is always the next attack coming. Forge early, so we're not going to have the 0-0 upgrades this time around.
Let's see how this mine drop goes as it tries to swing around. Firefly smartly already in position, and he's just whopped in another Stalker there. So Coffee is going to have to be a little careful here. You don't want to be losing all that. Medevac might... No, it's not going to go down. But we do have both of those mines burrowing here.
The Reapers into the expansion. He's not paying attention. Oh, Firefly. Okay, this is really like my games.
No.
Sure. 8 probes gone down. The Reaper will be able to get out. Absolute disaster. Even on walk account now.
Yeah, rough start for Firefly. The Liberator is going to be slithering in here soon as well. And he just, well, he's actually not going to have an answer for that if all his Stalkers are across the map. That's for sure. The Reaper's going to try and buy some time and distract those Stalkers here for a minute as well. So yeah, Coffee's plan is going quite smoothly here. He's getting a lot of harassment done, a lot of worker kills. The Reapers are actually going to go all the way back into that main base. And Firefly is following along.
Oh my god, he's out of position. I'm getting so many flashbacks, you know?
Some PTSD flashbacks.
I always struggle so much against there. And like, even like if you think about the first Medivac drop in the main, like how do you defend perfectly there, right? Because if you sit in your mineral line, then the Medivac can still come in and burrow those Widow Mines sometimes. So it seems like you need to be on the way and intercepting. I think you just need like perfect positioning and perfect movement to make sure that you can fully shut off this Medivac that flew in and ended up killing a bunch of probes. The problem is that it's so hard to achieve, and I guess I was never really on the level where I did that very well. It feels like Firefly is kind of struggling with some of the same things here so far, where every attack that comes his way is taking a little too much damage compared to what should be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? With Mind Drop and why it's so good. It's just been more effort on the Protoss' side to hold it off. Nice snipe on the Siege Tank there, though, with the Observer. This is one of the very few times that I've seen Coffee not make the Raven. So for once, he actually has a bit of vision to play with using that OBS. There is a second tank here to take place of the one that just fell. But yeah, it's still a little bit difficult for Firefly to do much more than that at this point.
I like him going for the third base because he's going charge. I'm really curious whether he's gonna have the second Robo or like go for Colossus at all, or is it gonna be High Templars and Storm again? Like when you take the third base this quick, you're kind of skipping on gases at the Expo. Right now, he only took one of them, one assimilator, so he shouldn't have that much gas to go into High Templars for now. Perhaps it's just, I guess, not undecided so far, and we'll see in a few moments what he chooses to go into.
Yeah, we have plenty of gateways to pump that production with now, and a Warp Prism popping out too. So let's see what kind of pressure Firefly can apply here as he heads out with a hallucination as well, just to get a little bit of extra clue what's going on at Coffee's house. And Coffee is loading up a drop. They might just go exactly past each other. So that's a bit of a ruined surprise for Coffee there. But he does drop out. Actually, kind of does that in two halves.
Medivac, ooh, blink forward, then there he goes. But that's actually going to be able to get out. Concussive shells just go. Is there a blind spot, by the way, up there? No. But there was maybe on the right side, but he doesn't care anyway. He's just flying in. to put on some counter aggression. He saw the Terran move out, so that's the right move to say, okay, well, you're not gonna have anything in your main, and drop some zealots like this.
Yeah, really nice timing because that delays that push just that much more. There is a few units still holding the fort at the front there so that Firefly can't just waltz in here, but yeah, I want to be a little bit careful with that. That's 3 siege tanks, my friend. But still, he's just not really allowed Coffee to hit his timing here. +1 will finish up, and Coffee is going to maybe march out here again. He's got a fair number of tanks in that mix.
Firefly actually it just needs to make sure it doesn't overextend and keeps the prism alive, because then that makes it very hard for Coffee to just be able to move out when he wants to go for any sort of push. If he were to shut that down, he might just start moving across the map without any care in the world, knowing that there is nothing that can counterattack him really well. And we do have the second Robo and second Forge as well as 4th base here for Firefly, so he's ready to take this further into the game, and he's actually going to prioritize +2 attack. Okay, no, he starts both upgrades there.
Yeah, he's really setting himself up for a nice longer game. Now that Warp Prism is going to go down, we save a couple of Zealots there, and I think Firefly actually has a little squad of Zealots on the left-hand side of the map ready to go should Coffee move out. I like that a lot. So he does have some options still, even though it's not quite as good as a Warp Prism, and he's kind of so far had a pretty easy time getting that 4th Nexus up. Is Coffee actually going to push, or is he just going to flush this Protoss army out of here though?
Firefly got caught really badly here. Those are like some panic force fields to try and get out. That was a really nice timing. I knew Coffee was going to go for a timing soon, because he has to know there's either Colossus or Storm on the way, and he needs to try and hit and like do damage, apply some pressure, maybe kite really well against this army. Yeah, right now the first 2 Colossi are not quite out. He's evacuating the 3rd base, transferring the probes onto the 4th, but then the army is there now.
Coffee's actually going to reposition to be in the middle of all those bases. And the first Colossi are popping out now. Extended Thermal Lance isn't quite here yet, so he's got to wait just a little longer for that to kick in. But that's a lot of siege tanks. It's really hard to blink forward and try and get on top of that. The 4th Nexus is going to fall. The 3rd isn't mining. There's a few units heading across there for Coffee as well. Oh no, that's really bad timing for that.
That's so sick. The probes were trapped at the 4th base, he recalled them to the 3rd. But yeah, Firefly, it's so hard for him to defend against this because there were the tanks there, but Coffee maybe oversteamed a little bit. He lost so many SCVs to the Zealots on the other side, but his pressure, it seems like Firefly is really struggling holding against this. If he can wait a little more, he's going to have 4 Colossi and 2 upgrades.
Actually, I thought he'd sort of be able to sweep in here and just mow down all of those probes that got recalled in, but it's sort of slow and steady as he's got to leapfrog those tanks forward. And you're absolutely right, Todd. That's a lot more Colossi, a lot more firepower with those upgrades finishing here shortly as well. Coffee's on a bit of a timer to make this work, I think, but this is still a tricky thing to engage. Look at that spread from Firefly as well.
I think he has to go. Seems like a bad choice because there's just so many tanks ready to shoot. Here we go. Firefly trying to get rid of this force here. Colossi putting in work, but is there enough gateway units to help them out? No! Oh my god, he's losing everything.
Goodness, that was absolute carnage.
2 upgrade finishes when he's lost most of his army. He should have maybe waited a few more seconds.
Yeah, I think he saw that going a little differently, but maybe just jumped the gun. It is a high pressure situation for him, and it's hard to make those split-second decisions, but I mean, he is still holding the 3rd base for now, but Coffee is just continuing to rally over here. Those Stalkers might get some free Marines, which is nice. And he goes in as soon as those tanks unsiege. Is there going to be enough? There's charge lots on top of the bio. There's not any healing left on those medevacs either. A couple of Hero Marauders going to come in on the left and try and snipe the Colossus, but Firefly will prevail in the end.
It's still very even in supply here after this attack. It's pushed back. Firefly looking to land some medevac kills. We have the Ghost Academy on the way, and the Prism gets restarted for Firefly, who will be looking to retake that 4th base. This series is just non-stop action. They just keep on fighting all the time. But now that Firefly starts 3-3 against a Terran kind of stuck on 1-1 for a very long time, if he's able to complete that, I think he's going to be in a great spot. But he might need to just slow things down and take better engagement.
We only just now have the Armory and extra NG coming in for Coffee, so yeah. it's going to be a while before he can catch up on those upgrades for sure. He's still churning out some tanks, and he started Viking production a little while ago. Didn't smash it too hard, but now that there's still Colossi on the field, he's sort of trickling those in. He did snipe the Robo Bay at one point, so he knew there wouldn't be too many of those flooding the field again just yet. But yeah, he's sort of got to sit back and defend now, because Firefly's going to poke at him a little bit, not committing to anything too dramatic. But he certainly needs to sort of get himself together here again.
Wait, did he lose the Robo Bay? Because I saw one in production. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it got sniped from the third base.
Why was it on the third base? That's a better question.
Live on the edge, man. Why not?
Well, that's dangerous in StarCraft, for sure.
Firefly is a dangerous man. And speaking of danger, he's adding in some disruptors now. So that can definitely make those engagements a little bit easier. We've got one Zealot actually doing a decent job getting 3 SCVs for its troubles.
And then Shockwave is going to be huge here. And not just in the literal sense. Very important to have that. And we've seen how EMPs can turn a fight, like, you know, because like the Protoss ball is always kind of clumped up. It's very rare, like, that you're going to be able to set up a concave where like EMPs can't land big time on your army. That can be game winning, just landing a couple perfect EMPs. I like the disruptor transition. You don't want to overcommit on like spamming Colossi for too long. You know, I don't think you can get like, you know, 7, 8. It doesn't make much sense. You just get a few and then you add disruptors on top of that, and then you're forcing Vikings by doing that, or Liberators usually.
Yeah, we're about to have 6 Vikings on the field, and as you said, some Ghosts in the mix as well, but yeah, that should be more or less enough Vikings, as we don't have any more Colossi in production. Another Nexus coming in for Firefly, but Coffee with a nicely timed scout is going to spot that, so he'll know that that's another spot that he could try and drop or pressure a little bit further down the track, and he's still sitting on 3 CCs here.
There's a window here where I think Firefly should look for a fight while he has 3-3 against 1-1. That would be a huge upgrade advantage. The problem is that Coffee is very well... I think Coffee might be able to read into this. He's like, okay, well, I know I'm behind in upgrades. I need to turtle. I need to catch up. They're just kind of sat back with tanks, Ghosts, adding some one bunker, some turrets. Yeah, Firefly, I think, understands. He needs to go. He just got 3-3. Here we go. He's almost maxed out here. Any cleanup against this army? He has a lot.
Vikings targeting down 1 Colossus, and that is a deep tank line. It's actually really difficult for him to get properly on top of the rest of the Terran forces there. We've got Liberators coming to the mix, and 2-2 is just now finishing for Coffee as well, so that'll help out a little bit. But maybe the War Prism here will make the difference. You mentioned before that makes things a lot more difficult for Coffee. So Firefly now about to add that back into the mix, but oh, there's Liberators coming in just in time.
And there's Vikings close enough that... oh, the turret. That's pretty cool. The Vikings close enough that he could have just defended that easily. Now Firefly is not ideal. He got pushed back, upgrades, you know, kind of caught up to with 2-2 against 3-3. And we see a Stargate. The transition, perhaps, already thinking about potential Tempests. Could we see a Mothership? I want to see that minus 400, 400.
Wouldn't that be a treat? I don't think I've seen a Mothership in a TVP in the China region possibly in years, but hold that thought. Firefly coming in with a blink. He's going to target down that CC. Disruptor shot doesn't get too much there, but Firefly just backs up a little bit. He's got some Zealots on the bottom right hand side. The Warp Prism gets taken out, so nothing happening there. But over here we do have a Liberator getting a bit more probe damage.
Oh my god. Coffee's kind of getting caught off guard, but Firefly not willing to commit fully to the fight here. I guess he already fired most of the disruptor shots.
Yep, targets down an Immortal, Disruptor or 2 in that fight as well. And Coffee looks like he wants to hit that left-hand side base, the 5th Nexus that is. There's a 6th one going down in the bottom right as well. That Colossus is so bruised. Ooh, got to dodge those Disruptor shots. It does have a semi-decent connection there, but there's still a fair bit of Terran on the front doorstep, and with all those tanks to fall back to, it's really hard for Firefly to get in there. The EMP comes down as well, but charge loss from the back on top of the tanks now, and that should be enough for Firefly to clean this up.
Yeah, that looked very scary for Firefly, but after those EMPs landed, he found a really nice flank from behind. and now starts pulling ahead supply-wise. Yes, I'm always looking. It's the most important number in this game. And he's doing really good now, being on that many bases. Like, we see the 6th base on the way.
And Firefly's not going to let Coffee have a rest. He's going to capitalize on that last fight and bring it to a 1-1 in this best of 5.
These guys are battling. Non-stop fighting. There's just no downtime, no turtly game here.
Not at all. That's what makes it exciting. I mean, they've definitely played a fair few matches against each other. I like the adjustments from both players, particularly Coffee. You know, adding in those sort of proxy Raxes in the early game, just trying to do it a little different. Because the one thing I was going to say about him earlier was that when I've seen him recently, he's always kind of playing the same opener. But already in this series, we're seeing him change it up, maybe just in a small tweak, maybe actually taking a completely different direction to his normal sort of 1-1-1 Raven bio push kind of formula that he's had a lot of success with previously. And this was definitely a rough opening for Firefly in the early stages.
Yeah, that proxy, I guess maybe didn't do as much as he would have liked. And then after that, it just became this, like, I mean, there's so much stuff happening in those games with both players managing to, like, slow one another down. I like the defense, I would say, from Firefly. Like, the initial drop, he lost a couple probes, but not that many. And then after that, I think he was just really solid defending correctly against everything. Maybe the engagement when just before he got 2-2 was maybe a little bit too quick. I think he was maybe worried about the reinforcements getting there and him not being able to break out of that position anymore later on.
Yeah, he definitely held his own really well. That flank at the end sealed the deal for him here in Inside and Out as well. Very nicely done. He's actually done quite well with his Zealots so far in the couple of maps that we've seen. He's always got a small squad ready to run into the Nat. He's had to go with the Warp Prism as well. And we're seeing him set up the flanks too. So that's been a really cool thing to see from Firefly, to just kick things up a notch and make it a little bit more difficult for Coffee to come out ahead in these circumstances. I think I don't think I catched the Groose, but I feel like Coffee kind of won that with his regular old style. So yeah, Firefly definitely has stepped it up a notch here as well.
Yeah, that's really nice to see a closely contested match. We don't want one-sided series. Yesterday we had a 3-1 and a 3-0. You know, we need to have a map 5 here. Come on, let's do it. Let's get some long games in there.
Yeah, we might just be in luck. We do tend to have a lot of 3-1s and 3-0s in this region, I think. But typically the grand finals pops off a little bit, especially when we've had Cyan in there. And you noted earlier, he is very missing in this playoffs. It's kind of weird because he's like the one guy that's ever been able to contest time in the finals. Like, to even sow a seed of doubt that, whoa, is this guy actually going to do it? So yeah, I out of who's left though, just while we load into the third map here, who do you think would have the best chance against time?
I think from what I've seen so far, Jeshi.
Yeah.
Good that they meet in the upper bracket finals later.
Definitely with you on that one. We are on Moondance though for map number 3, folks. Get hype for the Invictus Gaming player in the bottom right. This is the Red Terran, Coffee.
His Protoss opponent in the blue, already sending out a probe to the map, is Firefly. It's a very quick scout here.
Yeah. Trying to play it safe, I guess. Wondering if he's going to kick it up a notch with the proxy maybe again, make it even closer this time. I think we saw one proxy was it in the groups from time, just straight up proxy Marauder cheese.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't think we've seen too many cheeses in this region.
Yeah, Moondance, I guess, common for this type of play here with a lot of gas being mined and more tech-heavy builds. I mean, we see Coffee is already on double refinery with 3 and 3 SCVs, so he's gonna want to rush to perhaps the starport quickly. But okay, he pulls some of the workers, starts the factory now, and that's probe is staying in the top right, not quite proxying anything, maybe saving that as a follow-up scout eventually on the command center to know exactly what tech it would be.
See what Coffee's plan is here as we have that factory finished. Does he end up eventually adding on a tech lab? We're actually going straight into the reactor, so I think I have seen him sort of throw out Hellions as well, but on this map, like, you have that free base behind as the third, so it's not quite as juicy to slide in there, but he's gonna get some of that early harassment with this Reaper. And obviously not finding the same amount of success that he did in the last game, but he can certainly still have a go at getting a probe or two here.
Yeah, Coffee wants to make sure like he doesn't overextend with the Reaper. I think keeping that alive is very important. So he might... Yeah, that's what you don't want to have happen. He was greedy. He wanted that probe. He got jebaited. Now he lost his scout. He did kill 3 walkers. Here?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, he gets something out of it despite losing the scout there. And it's going to be a little while before he has anything he can send over there again. We have a bunch of SCVs coming down as this Adept is making it really difficult for these 2 Marines and that 1 mine to actually clean that up.
Double mine in position here.
Nice block. Firefly just being a bit of a pain in the butt, really, with these first couple of units, knowing that Coffee isn't going to have a whole lot to do about it just for a little bit. I mean, he's got to be careful of the mines now, but having lost the Reaper, like, he doesn't have to worry about anything slipping by him at home. We are getting close to that first medevac being out, though.
He's forcing the wall to just be, like, lowered at all times. It actually makes it... Oh, he might get on top of the SCVs. Yeah, he locks the SCVs out by doing this. That's pretty cool. Preventing some extra mining here from Coffee, while his macro has been doing pretty good. He's pumping out probes consistently and going into blink. And good timing to head home here. Great read by Firefly. Doing beautifully this game.
Yeah, really nicely done. Now, oh, that Adept's going to see the medevac coming across too. Those Stalkers, they don't quite path under it. But there's only 1 mine in this. The rest is Marines. So let's see how much he can do with this drop. He's going to get on the ledge here. And there's actually no units here just yet. The Stalker's still coming home.
That's a bit of a blind spot, I think. I don't think Firefly had vision there. And, ooh, Widowmine going to connect big time. Gets rid of 1 Stalker. Gets rid of the shield on another one.
Ooh, that mine's going to walk in there, though. Is he watching? Oh,
oh
no,
my god.
Todd. Oh,
my...
the pull. Oh, man. 8 probes. Oh, that's going to feel good for Coffee. And I believe that he's just sort of packed up on left from there, right?
I think, yeah, that last detonation was like 5 probes, because I think he already had killed 3 or so.
True. You're right. Yep.
Really nice, regardless. Like, now it's 32 SCVs against 34 probes, and when you have double orbital, you're pretty happy with this. And yeah, Firefly, this might delay his extra base, but he blinks forward, he goes for the counter-attack. Which definitely was unexpected, but also unexpected because he barely has anything. That's the tank, but walkers are all injured.
Nice little bit of micro here, but he's got to be careful. The Stalkers are bruised, and we have a Liberator back at Firefly's house, poking down some more probes and causing some more lost mining time. There's a second Liberator on the way, another tank and some Marines, and Coffee does like to be the aggressor. I mean, he may well just pick up and continue to come across the map with what he's got. Got to be a little bit careful that he doesn't lose this tank, though.
Oof, nice save. Yeah, Coffee doesn't have Stimpack here, unless he's planning on playing mech. Definitely wants to start that very soon, and that's probably not going to be needed, apparently, because he's just killed so much that Firefly is out of the game.
Wow. That was a very quick map number 3. Didn't quite expect it to end like that. But there you have it.
This makes me wonder, why did Coffee play so aggressive against TSA with the SCV pulse? He's incredible at this type of game here, where you throw a little bit of everything, you know, like it's like you're cooking something in the kitchen, you know, like you sprinkle a couple Widow Mines, and then, you know, maybe you have some Hellions, Liberators, you drop some Marines, and then you got a delicious meal called the win.
That's exactly right. I mean, he's switching it up really nicely. I don't think I've ever seen this much variety in Coffee's play. I'm really impressed. Like, he's definitely put in the hours to figure out how to make sure he has the best chance possible against Firefly, because it's clear that it's not an easy win by any means. He's pretty hard fought for the most part, but yeah, just the damage done in the early stages there, too much for Firefly. And Coffee still sits on, well, not still, now sits on match point. So it's do or die for Firefly at this point. Don't forget, folks, this is an elimination match. So the player that comes out on top gets to keep playing. The other one will have to try again next season. But let's see how we go on map number 4. We're going to take a quick break first, and when we come back, we'll continue this series. Don't go away. And we're back. This is DreamHack Atlanta. This is the China playoffs. And we're Zeph and Todd, and we are bringing you map number 4 very shortly between Coffee and Firefly. Our Terran player is on match point, and we're going to find out if he's going to continue his recent-ish winning record against his Protoss opponent, or if Firefly can battle it back, because it has been quite the battle. Moondance was probably the quickest and most one-sided game, but still, I don't know. Can Firefly win 2 more in a row? I'm kind of feeling like Coffee's got it.
He can, but it has to be through some great defense early on. If he starts losing probes, it's the beginning of the end. Every next attack will kill more than it should, and it just falls too far behind. And I think he almost left like out of frustration that last game.
Yeah, it did look a bit rough. I mean, if we think about the early game up to this point, it hasn't been super easy on him, has it? Because Coffee's been hiding a Rax out on the map. He's done bunker with the Reaper. He's generally had pretty good success picking some probes off in the early game. So will that theme continue? Let's find out. We're on Data C, and on the right hand side of the map, once again on match point, this is Coffee.
Opponent in the blue playing Protoss, playing for Team Skinny Camel. This Firefly. What's your favorite Australian slang?
Australian slang.
Starting with a C.
Well, I don't think I can say it on stream.
Crikey, of course. Is that Australian?
You know, out of all the Aussie slang, I'm not sure I've ever legitimately said crikey.
Really?
Yeah. It's I know it's like kind of a meme, but
yeah.
I actually don't know I've ever heard it in the wild.
It's for like old school
maybe
also, or?
Yeah, actually, yeah, no, that's true. I can recall someone from the older generation having said it, that's for sure. But
I don't think I've heard Maynard say it either.
Yeah. Maybe if he was memeing, he might slip one out there, but I don't think so.
All right, we got eBay block here. Going to be pretty annoying and force the Nexus away. Let's see. And yeah, Firefly on again. I want to emphasize defense has to be clean. If he wants to have a shot here. The problem is that on these maps there's so many angles that a Medivac or like a Liberator can come from as well. That makes it so difficult for him to be like ready and in position when it finally arrives.
Yeah, I love this from Coffee. Continue to be a bit of an annoyance in the early stages. Probe's going to come up and get denied by the Marine, so not a whole lot of information available to our friend Firefly here in the early stages either.
I was telling Maynard yesterday, like I always hear about how good Protoss is, but then every time I look at a cast a tournament, they get dumpstered. I wanted to complain to you a little bit as well, but you're a Zerg player, and there's literally no Zergs here in the playoffs, so maybe you're the wrong person.
I'll take your side. Yeah.
I guess on the world scene, Zergs are doing good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh, he sees the Stargate. Beautiful scout here. Let's see if he just walked in there.
Yeah, door was wide open, and unfortunately won't make it home, but hell yeah, gets himself some information early on in the piece. We've got some Marines sort of in a forward posture here to just nudge away any further scouting of the units from Firefly. And Coffee has opted for the high ground CC this time around. Going to drop that down there now, but we've got a couple of extra racks added on after that.
It makes it so awkward when you have to take your natural like so far out like this, and then in this case, you know, there is like you have to go all the way around, use the ramp, and then go up into the main. So that's what Coffee is gonna use to his advantage when he starts dropping and harassing all over the place. So the Oracle is like almost like a counterplay. You want the opponent to be worried himself about his own economy and kind of like be camping and playing slower than he usually would, like almost as much as you're hoping that you can achieve some sort of economic damage yourself. You also make him more defensive, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of a please stay out of my face for a bit build. We've got a second Oracle that's going to be pumped out here too, and it looks like he might be waiting to get the 2-in-1 so that he one-shots those workers and racks them up if he gets into those mineral lines. With the 3 racks, we do have a fair amount of marine production, and he did have some positioned in the mineral line for the main base, but we'll see how many of those he puts out the front here, because he's definitely getting quite the force with the combat shields and the stim not too far away.
I think Coffee is really good at timings. Like when all of his move outs are like obvious timings that you should go for. And like I mentioned that because I knew like the first one here was going to be coming up. Look at Steam Pack and Combat Shield. Yeah, like it's going to line up very well with when he gets there. And if Firefly is not fully ready, that's a great pylon actually to see that coming. But is he going to have enough units? He needs to have a Guardian Shield. Against this type of army, you need a Guardian Shield for sure. I haven't seen any Sentry.
Ooh, the stasis traps could be really nice here if he gets a little too fresh. But with the scan, he's going to pick those off. Oh my goodness.
Needs to fight with the oracles.
On that shield battery.
Kiting is key here as well. Like when Firefly takes the engagement, I think you want to target the oracles first with the Marines.
Gonna try again with the stasis ward. And Coffee is just rallying a few more units across the map as he tries to get up this ramp. And there are still a couple of shield batteries here. He's going to target down whatever he can. The oracles come in, but one gets fairly bruised fairly fast. The gateway units are absolutely melting, and Coffee is going for the throat here. He's on top of the stalkers, and there's just no units left here. The oracle cannot help. And Firefly actually has nothing left. GG, a short and sweet map number 3 puts that to rest, saying nope,